After being so rudely interrupted by Maya crashing, let's continue where we last left off. We left off in the mesh, edit mesh stuff. So as you can see here, we've got the things that we need. Detach, basically we're up to connect. So detach essentially allows you to detach a particular component, such as maybe a face. Detach it, and you can work on it separately. Though why would you want to do that? I have no idea. Because to be fair, another option does the exact same thing where you need to extract something, right? You can extract the face, and there you go. There's your face, extracted. So I really don't know what the differences are for this. Maybe I'm using it wrong. I'm not sure, but it's extremely weird, at least for me, when it comes to extraction versus detaching, right? The extrusion is a very useful command. That's why it's actually in a hotkey. So it allows you to basically extrude something off of the object while staying connected to it. So in our case, we've just extruded something here, and this is an entirely new object, and you can extrude again, maybe from here. You can extrude again and have it on the left, and then you can extrude from here as well and have it on the like at the top, like some kind of drawer. And you can also add divisions to it, so maybe it should be more detailed, and you can extract anything, extrude anything really. Edges, faces, I believe you can even extrude vertices. So we're currently in the normal. If we go to world, we can extrude the edge, and we're creating something new, another geometry. Let's go into vertex, see if we can extrude a vertex. Yes, we can, which is extremely weird, but like, why would you do that is beyond me, because that just doesn't work. A vertex doesn't have divisions, you know. So that's the extrude command, and it's extremely useful, by the way. The merge bit is pretty cool. It essentially allows you to merge different objects. So you can merge these, for example, as long as you get the distance threshold right. These merge together. It's much like collapse, but it's just a little bit more interactive, I suppose. Works on both edges and works on both edges, vertices, and faces, I believe. No tolerance, no. Okay. I thought it could work on edges. Maybe it could merge this way. Nope. Well, it seems like this only works for vertices. Yeah, you can select the faces is going to go into the vertices, but the merging of edges apparently doesn't work. Anyway, it's a cool bit. I suppose it's a more controllable collapse. So after that, we've got merge to center, which is basically the same thing. It allows you to, merge all of these into one point, merge to center, and boom, you got the initial result that we didn't like. The transform bit is just like your QWE, so why would you want to use this is beyond me. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but I don't really see why would you want to, like, rotation and movement, all these things are available to you through hotkeys. So the transform is just mind-blowing, at least to me. Why would you want to do this? This creates history. It's relative to the normal. Well, I suppose that's cool enough, but I think you'd rarely use it. The symmetrize bit is pretty cool, by the way. So this what allows you to do, the flip and symmetrize, they're exactly the same function. However, one of them is essentially has one bit disabled out of it. So let's just say I want to flip this to this side, right? Assuming you don't want to just scale it up this way. Let's say you have an ear or some asymmetrical eye, and you want it to be on the other side of your character. What you're going to do is go into edge mode or face mode or whatever floats your boat. Select everything here. Well, this thing, for example, you want to select that plus these. Okay, let's just say that we want to copy this thing over here with the faces. Come on, faces. Come on, faces. Exit this. All right, maybe we want to copy just this without these effects here. So we want to flip this on the other side. What you're going to do, you're going to click flip, and then you're going to select an axis where it's going to happen, and now it's the opposite, assuming you don't have any problems with your geometry, which we do. So there's a problem with that. Obviously, you could symmetrize. Oh god, we need to select this again. That's annoying. Right, so we can symmetrize like this, and click symmetrize, and click across here. Now, this should have technically created, moved the objects on the opposite side. However, because of our weird geometry here, we're having too many problems. And to be fair, we're not really symmetrically choosing, so there's nothing to flip against, so this would probably be better used if I sculpted something, but I'm not going to do that. You can do this on your own if you have a figure sculpted. You just select the edges that you want to flip, and they should go on the other side. In general, if you wanted to get this to the other side, you'd have to maybe duplicate or do the mirror in one of the previous things that I showed you. The average vertices, I have no idea what that is for. Like, why would you use it? No idea. Maybe if you wanted to go and select a couple of these and average the vertices on it, maybe to smooth it. I'm not sure. Maybe so that the distance between each other is the same. I don't know what's the point really for this thing. It's just strange, at least. I can't see when would you need to use this. Chamfer vertices does the same thing and just splits them in half, which again creates a ton of problems, I believe. So that's another thing you probably don't have to use. Reorder vertices, no clue again. Like, I never had to use these. All right, they create some kind of weird. All right, that's the first, second, and third, and then does something weird. So let's go and select 1, 2, and 3 and just reorder them. And that apparently did something. I'm not sure what it did, but it did something. Let me just get this window out again because it just escaped out of it. We're up to edges. We've got the delete edge vertex, which I've already talked about. The edit edge flow is pretty neat. Once you have a couple of edges, you can actually edit it depending on the geometry, so it can conform to it. Let's go and select it here. And in our case, we could edit the edge flow, right? And this would allow you to adjust the rate of the edit. So you might need to have something that's more conforming to your object. Maybe something like these two edges here. That because we don't actually have a very deformed object, you wouldn't really see the difference. Maybe these here, you'd see some of them. As you can see, it's bulging out right now. You can bulge it back in. I really don't know why would you need this in general. I don't see how it would affect something really cool. Maybe you have a turn or a bend or something like this here, and you might need to use the edge flow then to maybe make things more defined. But in general, I just don't see myself using this at all. The flick triangle edge is also a weird enough setting, just like the spin edge backwards and forwards. This essentially gives you a rotation of 90 degrees, which, why would you do it? No idea. Then you've got the assign invisible faces, which, like I said, I got no idea what that does. The duplicate is a very standard command. It essentially duplicates whatever face you wanna get, and you have it out already extruded, so there's not much use for that. And you can obviously scale it up and down, but it's kind of useless in my opinion, so I would just delete it because it's a separate object now, as you can see. After that, we've got the poke. I'd say poke could have its own uses. You could just click on something here, for example, and you click poke, and it's gonna basically triangulate it. If you had an n-gon, it would work a little bit better because then you'd create quads. But in our case, we created a bunch of extra. It basically creates a vertex at the center of your face, right? So you can do fancy things. But like I said, I think this creates more problems than it solves. So that's, in my opinion, useless. However, one thing that is not useless, definitely not useless, is an edge. Let me just delete this vertex here because it's pointless. Can I delete it? Now I'm gonna have to delete the freaking edges. All right. There are your edges, and Control Delete, and the vertex is gone, and we're back to normal. Okay, the wedge bit is very cool. I like it a lot. Basically allows you to select an edge, right, or a face. In our case, let's go and select a face. Let's go select this face here, or these three faces actually. And this allows you to rotate around a particular edge, or in this case, an axis. So we're going to go select an edge, and we're going to create an arc of 90 degrees maybe. We're going to click wedge face, Oh, I need to select an edge. My bad. I forgot that this is a multi thing. So we need to select the edge as well, along which we're going to be curving this thing around. So we need the faces plus the edge. And now we go and wedge stuff around. As you can see, you can create pretty cool effects. And you can even work on how detailed they're going to be. Here's the angle, right? You can... it's an operation that's very hard to replicate with regular tools, so I recommend remembering this one because it can really save you a lot of time, especially if you're trying to to create some extrusions around. You can obviously loft this and do this stuff with with curves. There's plenty of ways to do the same thing, but I believe this is a valuable way of extruding objects essentially. There is a problem, of course, because like I said, we got a load of triangles, which is not desirable. So you're going to have to, turn these into quads, which most of the time is quite annoying. You might say, well, listen, we're going to go into mesh, we're going to quadrangulate this. It's not going to work. All right, you're going to have to do this by hand. And in general, it's not a very precise operation as well. Even though you know the angle, you might actually end up with more complex geometry than you can handle. Right. At the end of the day, obviously, you can just delete most of these things, right, if you don't need them. But anyway, we've only left the project curve on mesh and the split mesh with projected curve. So essentially, if we had a curve, let's say we're going to create, a NURBS primitive, a curve tool like an EP curve, and we ran a curve across, right? You could project this onto this object, maybe split it in half or something of the sort. But I find it to be quite handy when you try to project something on top of an object and maybe extrude something out of it or loft something out of it. But in general, you won't be using these much. Okay, well, that's done that. And one last thing I wanted to tell you about, let me just exit this option here, is the history tool. The delete history. Now, if you notice, we open up the channel box, assuming it opens up properly. Can I please make you bigger? Thank you very much. Look at our channel box right now. Look at what this is. Look at this. There is a bunch of garbage here essentially that we don't need, because we could really go back and look at them. But most of them we would have already, like, this is your history stack. So if you added something at the bottom, you might screw up something at the top. So what you want to do is you want to delete the history. But remember, you want to delete the non-deformer history. In our case, it doesn't matter because we don't have any deformers. But if we did, it would always be best to delete only the non-deformer history. Let me show you. Boom, non-deformer history gone. It does the exact same thing as the deformer history. Okay, so yeah, there's that. Okay, I don't believe there's anything else left here to talk about, because the next video we're going to be focusing on the mesh tools, which are a little bit more intuitive, I believe, right? You got the connect, which does the exact same thing as the connects function in the other tool set. You've got the crease, which is pretty handy when you want to, I already showed you the crease in other videos when we were sculpting. Create polygon is handy, but then again, you can create polygon with quad draw as well. Target weld is nice. The offset edge loop and the insert edge loop, I just don't understand that. Why would they put it? Because the multi-cut tool does exactly the same thing. Like, notice that the multi-cut tool is extremely powerful, by the way, because you can create different objects and add different edge loops and even have them spaced in like 10-degree intervals. And if you go into tool settings, there's even more stuff you can talk about here. So yeah, it's another video, but I believe that the current setup that you have there's plenty of information to take in, right? So in the next video, we'll be talking about these tools. And maybe in the future we might actually talk about the bonus tools as well. So there's plenty of tools to go around. Okay, let me just delete this abomination. There's something left over. What is this? Oh, this is our control vertex, I believe. Yeah, this is our curve. Just delete that, and we can delete all these cubes, all these extrudes, whatever's left over. Don't need that. And yeah. So play around with these tools. Maybe figure out how some of them work, because, like I said, I don't even know how most of them operate because I never actually had to use them. All right, maybe in some particular scenario they'd be useful, but in general you'd be using the mouse tools and you know, some of the basics like smooth and reduce, like triangulate, quadrangulate, all those. Well, you won't be triangulating, but anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video when we finish with this tool set. All right, see ya. Bye bye.